Picture this: a warrior stands alone on a misty battlefield, hand resting on his katana. In mere seconds, he'll face 20 armed men. His heart is calm, his breath is steady, because for him, death is not something to fear, it's something he's already accepted. This is the way of the samurai. But here's what Hollywood won't tell you: the greatest samurai weren't just master swordsmen. They were poets, philosophers, and politicians. They committed acts of breathtaking loyalty and shocking betrayal. This is their true story, and it's far stranger than any legend. The year is 1180. Japan is tearing itself apart. For centuries, emperors ruled from their palaces in Kyoto, surrounded by aristocratic courtiers who'd never held a sword in their lives. But out in the provinces, a different kind of power was rising. Warriors on horseback, masters of the bow and blade. They were called bushi, literally armed men. We know them as samurai. But here's the twist: the first samurai weren't noble heroes. They were mercenaries, hired muscle for wealthy landowners. The aristocrats in Kyoto looked down on them as crude, violent provincials. That all changed with one man, Minamoto no Yoritomo. In 1185, after years of brutal civil war, Yoritomo did the unthinkable. He defeated the ruling clan and became the first shogun, military dictator of Japan. For the next 700 years, samurai would rule the nation. But with power came a problem. How do you control thousands of armed warriors scattered across the country? Yoritomo's answer was brilliant and brutal. He created Bushido, the way of the warrior, a code that transformed savage fighters into something more: loyal servants willing to die without question. And die they did. Let me tell you about the 47 Ronin. In 1701, a young lord named Asano was insulted by a corrupt court official. Drawing his sword in the shogun's palace, Asano wounded the official, a crime punishable by death. He was ordered to commit seppuku, ritual suicide by disembowelment. Here's where it gets interesting. Asano's 47 samurai became Ronin, masterless warriors, dishonored and disbanded. Everyone assumed they'd slink away in shame. Instead, for 2 years, they pretended to be drunks, merchants, and beggars. They waited, they planned. On a snowy night in December 1702, they struck. They stormed the official's mansion, fought through his guards, and beheaded him. Then they marched through the streets of Edo, carrying the head to their master's grave. The shogun faced a dilemma. They'd committed murder, but they'd also embodied perfect loyalty. His solution? He allowed them the honor of seppuku rather than execution. All 47 killed themselves. To this day, millions of Japanese visit their graves in Tokyo. Because the Ronin proved something fundamental about samurai culture: loyalty wasn't just important, it was more important than life itself. But loyalty to whom? Here's what's rarely mentioned: samurai were masters of betrayal. During the Sengo period, the Warring States era from 1467 to 1615, Japan descended into chaos. Hundreds of warlords fought for supremacy, and samurai switched sides constantly, murdering their own lords if it meant survival or advancement. One samurai, Akechi Mitsuhide, served the great warlord Oda Nobunaga for years. Then, in 1582, he turned his army around and attacked his master at a temple in Kyoto. Nobunaga, caught completely by surprise, committed suicide as the temple burned around him. Why did Mitsuhide betray him? Historians still debate it. Revenge? Ambition? Madness? Mitsuhide ruled for exactly 13 days before being hunted down and killed. This is the samurai paradox. They worshipped loyalty while practicing pragmatism. They spoke of honor while committing political murder. They were poets who wrote about cherry blossoms in the morning and beheaded prisoners in the afternoon. The greatest samurai understood this contradiction perfectly. Take Miyamoto Musashi, perhaps the most famous swordsman in history. He killed his first man at age 13. By the time he died at 70, he'd fought over 60 duels and never lost once. But here's the fascinating part. Late in life, Musashi gave up the sword. He became a painter, a sculptor, a philosopher. In a cave 2 weeks before his death, he wrote the Book of Five Rings, a meditation on strategy that's studied by business executives today. His final lesson? True mastery isn't about killing. It's about understanding the nature of conflict itself. By the 1600s, Japan was unified under the Tokugawa shogunate. Peace settled over the nation, and the samurai faced their greatest enemy, irrelevance. For 250 years of peace, there were no battles to fight. Samurai became bureaucrats, administrators, teachers. Their swords gathered dust. Many fell into poverty, their stipends from the government barely enough to survive. When Commodore Perry's American warships arrived in 1853, forcing Japan to open to the West, everything changed. Some samurai embraced modernization. Others saw it as betrayal, the destruction of everything they held sacred. In 1877, a samurai named Saigo Takamori led a rebellion against the new government. Armed with swords and outdated rifles, his army of samurai faced conscript soldiers equipped with modern weapons. It was a massacre. The Battle of Shiroyama was the last stand of the samurai. Saigo and his few remaining men charged directly into machine gun fire. They died to the last man. 1 year later, the Meiji government officially abolished the samurai class. After 700 years of rule, the age of the warrior was over. Or was it? Walk through Tokyo today and you'll see businessmen in suits rushing to meetings. But visit any martial arts dojo, any shrine, any quiet garden, and you'll feel it. The spirit of the samurai lives on. Not in violence, not in war, but in discipline, in the pursuit of mastery, in the acceptance of death that makes life precious, in the understanding that the greatest battles aren't fought with swords, they're fought within ourselves. The samurai taught Japan and the world that the warrior's path isn't about destruction. It's about control, precision, the calm acceptance that every moment could be your last, so every moment must be lived with intention. The samurai are gone, but the way of the warrior? That's eternal.